Um, so let's wait for like another couple of minutes so we can have more. We have 19 or 18 for now, 18 participants. I'm Yaman. My name is Yaman Sanobar. Maybe this is the first time I'm lecturing in the program. Thank you. So I want to like more people to join in, then I can like start the lecture. Okay, everyone. Again, my name is Yaman Sanobar, and I am a master's student. I'm finishing my master's in computer science. So I was a TA for around 2 years. So I TA'd computer networks and applied industry practices, 2 courses. And I'm doing research in human-computer interaction, which is basically researching the experience between technology and humans. It's like a broad field. There's many like subfields and topics. I'm interested in the application domain, in the user experience of apps, and yeah, things like that. Today we're gonna talk about arrays. Let me share my screen. Okay, you can see my screen. Open the chat. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, we will talk about arrays. Yeah, please, if you have any questions during the like the coming 2 hours, please let me know on the chat, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. So today, and I also know that there is I mean, uh, like you guys have different experience in coding. Some of you is experienced, while others are they're still starting their journey in coding and development. So I'll do my best um, to like accommodate everyone. I think we will focus towards people who are starting development, and maybe during the questions and the Q&A sessions, or maybe during the labs, if like any experienced developers, if they have any questions, we can help them if we can. But yeah, for the lecture today, we'll talk about arrays. And arrays is a universal concept in programming. So whenever you go, or what language you would decide to work on in the future or take as a course, you would find arrays. The main difference would be in syntax. So basically how to write arrays. But now we will talk how to think arrays. Like, so the thing is in programming, if you have, as they call it, the programming mind, or let's say um, if you have the programming mind, or if you like you find programming something that is accessible for you, then this is a good track for you. If it's not, then it's basically like a language. So some languages are accessible to you, and this we are going to do this by introducing concepts, and today's concept is arrays. Okay, so any questions before like we jump in, or I jump into the okay. Maybe I have internet connection issues. Okay. So if my voice went, like if there's some internet issues, just let me know. I'll maybe repeat, or maybe in the next lecture I'll do. I mean, I'll find a way to. Okay, arrays. Arrays, they're basically like, you can imagine arrays as a series of lockers in a hallway. So I think you have been introduced to variables, and variables are like containers to variables. So in programming, we need to store values, and we need to change or delete these values or do modifications to these values. So we need containers. And if you have related values, like let's say, as we will see, like fruits, you have different kind of fruits, you have different kind of tools or something, and you want to store these related values, it's better to store them in a kind of linked way. So this is where arrays comes. So yeah, as the example here says, it's like a series of lockers in a hallway. Each has a unique number, and then an array can hold multiple pieces of data and position. Exactly. So we have value, and we have position. This is the array. And the thing is, why, I mean, like the powerful part of the reason we have this concept is that we need to view the content of these related value or change based on the position. So let's say you have, let's go to the lockers example. You have a hallway with 3 lockers, 1, 2, 3, and you need to store like item 1, item 2, item 3, and you want to access item 2. So you can access item 2 by the position of that locker, and then once you open item 2, you would open it and you would have the value of position 2. This is the concept of array in simple terms. Values and variables, and also arrays could be integers, could be numbers, could be text, could be Boolean. It depends on what it depends on the need, basically. Yeah. So why arrays are important? So again, to store multiple related variables in an efficient, if we don't have arrays, it's gonna be inefficient and difficult to store and manage these related values. So as I've mentioned the example before, like if you have a list of fruits, so one way to do this is to have define variable 1, variable 2, and variable 3, and then put first fruit variable 1, second fruit variable 2, and third fruit variable 3, and this is inefficient. So that's where the importance of arrays come. And the second thing is allow us to store multiple pieces of related data into one variable name, so we can access these variables from one variable name, and it makes the code cleaner and more efficient. So here are like 3 examples of arrays. We have like fruits: apple, orange, peach. So these are strings. 3 strings, or you can store floats, and you can store here Boolean: false, false, true. So I'm not sure if any of you isn't familiar with value types like float, double, integer, or false, true. Okay. Okay, nice. So most of you knows this. Some of you not. In app development, okay. So in application development, usually it's not a big deal. But if you're doing Java or C++ or object-oriented programming, if you're doing okay, I'm talking online application like web development and mobile development. Okay, mobile development also depends, but in web development, usually, as we have seen here, JavaScript is mainly for, it's used, mainly for web, or let's say, okay. Okay, so there's different value types. There's integer, there's float, there's double. You can check those online. There's Boolean. So each one of those means a value or represents a value. Boolean is true or false. So again, here we're talking with the computer, and we are using programming languages to talk with the computer, and the computer understands zeros and ones, math. So the first thing in math is numbers. So we have integer, float, and double. Integer is the integer numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Float is basically 0 point something, 0 point. So there's points, 1.2. Exactly, yes. Okay, okay, Ali. Okay, thank you, Ali. Yeah, this is great. Oh, okay. For JavaScript, it's just there's numbers, and then there's different values. There is Boolean, true, false, and there's like these 3 are enough for now. For JavaScript, you have string, which is, let's say, words. You have numbers, and you have Boolean, true or false. I think for JavaScript, yeah, as Alip said, this is sufficient. If you need to know more, you can check online. It's yeah, it's not yeah, I mean for JavaScript, those are sufficient. And now let's go to Play Code, and you can also join. I mean, open a Play Code console and start doing some coding. So here we have three variables. So let's A1 JavaScript, let A2 HTML, let A3 CSS. So we can console log message or let's say we want to print the first language, we can just say console log A1 JavaScript, console A2 HTML, as you can see here. Oh yeah, sure. Is it better now? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so you can without arrays, you have to do A1, A2, A3 for storing programming languages. Now imagine you have I don't know, you want to build a website that lists all programming languages. So you need 100 variables. So imagine you just write let A1, let A3, let A until 100 for each variable. This is inefficient, and the code would be I mean, not clean. So this is cleaner and more efficient. Okay. Now we can, instead of doing this, we can say let. Okay, so we are in the free version here. Maybe I didn't log in. Yeah. So I can do let and I can say you have exceeded the limit of 8 lines. Okay, okay. Okay, I'll try to remove spaces. Okay, thank you, Lee. Let's check that. Okay. Maybe I need to install JavaScript. JavaScript extension just to make things easy. And yep. Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to know how online I can do this. I have to save the file as .js. Select a language. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's do the hello world here, and let's open console and let's run. Does F5 works here or? Thank you. Yeah, I think it doesn't work online. Let me see. I have the local version. Okay. I'll just uh,
Which is it?
okay. Okay, so this is VS Code, Visual Studio Code, and this is an IDE. It's development environment, integrated development environment. So this is an editor. Like as you see here, you can have different files. Just forget about the open files. This is an old project I was working on. And oh, my screen is on play code. Oh, I see. Okay, I'll share. Okay, now you can see the desktop. You can see the VS Code, the local my device. Okay, so okay, so the VS Code, Visual Studio Code, this software here is an IDE, integrated development environment, if I can remember well. And this is like an editor, as you can see here. You can do text editing. I mean, not text editing, programming editing. And in addition to that, there is tools that could help you in coding and programming. So here you can explore your folder with the files and everything. Search, you can search your code. Here is for version control. This is for GitHub. I think maybe we can talk about this in in future lectures. And here you can have extensions, and here you can run the code. So we write code and then we use compilers to run the code and to have the result using run code. And extensions are extensions or libraries or helpers that is provided by different providers. And they're, to my knowledge, they contribute through VS Code for people to use. So here we're using CodeRunner to run Java or JavaScript. So CodeRunner also runs C, C++, Java, JavaScript, PHP, different programming languages, actually many. So I installed, so you can download VS Code, install CodeRunner, and then open a new folder. Okay, not this one. And you can name it lecture 21, add an extension .js. So lecture 21.js, and you can start coding JavaScript. So I copied the examples we have, the basic examples we have. And I think I've done. Okay. All right. Node. npm start. I'm using React. So okay. So Alim is okay. Okay. Let me close this. Okay. So for the next time, I'll prepare the local version. For now, let's continue on. I'll continue on play code. I've prepared like different examples here. So those are preventing me from continue working on the online version. So I'll take those. Okay. So, okay. Sorry for like a mess up. So again, I'm back on play code. And I think it's for the next time, it's better to do it locally. Download Visual Studio Code, download a debugger like JavaScript, like Code Runner, and we are doing web development. So you need HTML uh, file, and the HTML file would run the script.js. So like this. I don't know. Do you also have you talked about this, the HTML? About the HTML and the link between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. All right. So in web development, there is three main languages: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML is like the bone or the backbone of the code. Okay, no worries. So HTML is the backbone or the main structure of the code. CSS is for styling, and JavaScript, which what we are learning here, is for interactivity, and they call it the magic, basically, the magic of um, web development. And that's because everything without JavaScript is static. JavaScript add interactivity, and it is like a programming language, like very like it's used in many applications, and it's established. and that's why we are learning JavaScript first, because HTML is called hype. I don't want to like dig deep, but yeah, JavaScript is it has the programming concepts that we want to I mean introduce in this course. So again, we go back to the arrays. So let's say we have A1 variable, A2 variable, A3 variable. So instead of storing this, as I told you, you can store in. Okay. Um, I know, Alim, does this happen to you while doing your lecture? Like the, okay, let's say, okay, hopefully, so instead of storing in different variables, you can store it. So, okay, okay, just give me 5 minutes to prepare the local version because I'm using React and it's complicated. I'll just prepare the local version and come back to you. Maybe we can take 5 minutes break and then we can continue. Sorry again for the mess up. I'm gonna stop sharing now. Okay, sorry everyone again for the technical issues. So I found another online development compiler, sorry, yeah, another JavaScript compiler online. You can use this if you don't have the local version. Maybe, I don't know, have you had like a session for like, you know, building an IDE? So the yeah, so when you start programming any language, the first thing to do is to 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 like build your environment, uh, like what editor you want to use. So VS Code is one option. Uh, what extensions you want to use. There's a lot of like helpers also, or extensions that would help you with uh, like already written piece of codes, which called snippets. Yeah, but now let's go back again to arrays. So instead of having let A1, A2, A3, we can have let languages or let langs here, and we can open brackets and add JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. So here, as you can see, A1, I would have okay, I forgot the stations here, and one here as well. So A1 would give me JavaScript, A2 would give me HTML, and A3 would give me CSS. Oh yeah, sorry. So here is main.js, and here you would have the output. So for now, we are outputting only on the command line, on the terminal here. So as you can see, this is a terminal. So it's like usually JavaScript is used to, or like the three languages, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, is used to build web apps like the one you're seeing here. The program is online compiler. But for now, we are starting, so we are just outputting text on the command line. How we output on the command line, we use console.log. And instead of like, as I told you, instead of having three different variables or multiple variables, we want one variable that we can access to access different related variables. So we can say langs here, and we would have the whole array printed on the screen, and we can access one item at a time as we need, based on index. So arrays has, if you remember the locker example, there is value and there is locker name or locker position. So here the value is JavaScript, but the position is 0. So arrays positions start from 0, 1, 2, and so on. So the first position is always 0. So if I type here, give me the value of from this array with a position of 0, would give me JavaScript. Index is basically position. They're the same. So this is langs, this is the array, and it has index. So the index of this value is 0. The index of this value is HTML. The index of this value is CSS, like in the locker example. So imagine there is a hallway, there's lockers. These lockers have numbers or index. So the first one would have index 0, the second 1, and so on. Or like in a hallway where there is offices, each office has a tag or a, a, a number. So 0, 1, 2, and so on. So we can access the array using this 0, 1, 2. I hope that answer your questions, Razak. Okay, so let's go back to the slides we have. Um, so print, as we have seen, to printing the array or the items of the array. Array starts at an index of 0. Oh, my camera is on. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. Okay, here's the example of fruits. So as we have seen, we had languages, console.log, fruits, console.log, fruits1, fruits 0, fruits1 would give us the first, the second, and so on. Now, if we give, here we have 0, 1, 2. If we give 3, we should have now methods. So as maybe you have seen the importance of arrays, we can access these arrays through position, but also there is different ways or methods that we can utilize to help us in what we are doing in programming. So the most famous and the important one is length, which gives you fruits dot length, which gives you like the number of items in the list. I think it's really helpful if you code while I'm doing this, unless you're this is your first time listening to this, like if this is the very first time, then I think it's better to stay like with us. Yeah. But if you have like previous, experience in coding or programming, just try it by yourself. That would be helpful. So if I type here length, it give me okay. Got the T would give me 3. Basically, how many items in the list. The second method we have here is push. So push adds a new item to the list. So I have 3 programming language and I decided I have another one. So I would do next to push. I would add CSS, C++. And then if I run, I would have 4. And if I can access now the fourth one in the index, it's going to be C++. If I print the whole array, I would have JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and C++. So this is helpful if you want to add a new item at the top of the I did one push, I can do one pull. So next dot pop and okay, you need brackets. Yeah. So these are methods or functions. We'll talk about functions later. So we need brackets. And if I type Lang's pop, it removes the last one. So it was like this. And then you can add C++. And as you can see, I have C++, then I can pop, then I would remove C++. So Walid is asking, what's the point of pop and push if you can just edit the array? Yeah, exactly. So if you just want to add a value to the top of the array or remove the value at the top of the array, you can just use push and pop, because sometimes you're not concerned with position, you're concerned with adding value or removing value, especially the first value. You're concerned with okay, maybe if we're talking array from left to right, you're concerned with the most, like the value at the most right. So you want to add something to the most right, you can use push. Most right, just push, push, push. If you want to remove the value at the far right, you can just type pop and you can just remove that value. So it's easy to, it's like, the point is it's easy to add to the array. Like you can just type push into anything and just add. You can pop and just remove. So this is the importance of this method. I hope that answers your question. Also, we have shift. It removes the first item of the array. Okay. So instead of pop here, I can shift. And now I would remove JavaScript. And I would still have C++. So now I'm concerned with the item on the far left. Adds an item to the beginning of the array is unshift. So instead of pushing C++, I want to unshift it, basically add it to the beginning of the array. So I would have C++ here, and then I would remove C++ using shift again. So now I know maybe for some of you, this is going to be like, okay, I need to remember all these operations. It's just, what we are doing here is to, again, to make you learn or absorb these programmatical concepts. So when you start coding, it's familiar to you, and you can just go back to the docs and apply it easily. So don't feel like, okay, this is too much. There's too many methods I need to remember. You don't need to remember. You need, maybe with time you will remember, but for now you can just you just need to, like, maybe understand and remember the most important things, like print, of course, what is arrays and the length of arrays. If you do the push and pop, that would be also great. Now there's also sorting, and there's many kind of methods, but I think we will talk about these in the future as the final method we have today is index off. So let's look at this example here. So we have this constant beasts array. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beasts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 index 0, 1, 2, 3. And I want the index of Bison. So I know there's Bison in the array, but I want the index of that Bison. So I do this using index off, and I would get the index. So when I see 1, I know it's the second item in the array. Now, maybe you would ask, why is this helpful? For now, it's not obvious why it's helpful, but once you start coding, you would require accessing certain positions of the array. So you would use index off. So let's say you have array of arranged items and you want to know where some sort of one kind of item is located, so you can use index of. Okay, so I think we're done with the first part. Anybody or anyone has a question for now? Okay.
So index of can return multiple locations?
Index of returns one location, like it returns.
So if you have bison in the second position and in the last position, so what will index of return?
That's a good question. Okay, here we have bison, and it returns here. It's returning the first encounter. So
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
no worries. I think we can go back to the docs to know the details. So if I look at index of, it is the first index, yeah, at which a given element can be found in the array, or -1 if it's not present. Yeah, so this is another important or helpful I mean another helpful factor or helpful in another way to use index of. So is to have -1. If you ask, okay, I want to check if a giraffe is in the item, so I do beasts dot index of giraffe, and if I have -1, then the giraffe isn't there. Okay, thank you. Copying the chat. Can you do an example on VS Code, please, what the output of this would look like? It's going to be the same in VS Code. The thing is, locally, I'm using React, and React uses JavaScript. So the environment for me now, it's not like prepared for vanilla JavaScript, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, because Node.js is considering React when I run command line. So if you are using Visual Studio Code, you would have the output here on the output terminal. Okay. I think also we can have a 5 minute break for now. If you have any questions, please keep asking on the chat and we will answer them. And we will come back in 5 minutes. Okay, everyone. Thank you for Isra for telling me about the chat. Also for my voice. So is my voice cutting for you? I mean, does the internet? My internet is so here. My internet keeps going up and down. So okay, so maybe it's not from my side then. All right, so we can now continue to the second part of today's lecture. This part is practical. I think it's gonna be helpful if you at least try to write the code by yourself and see the results. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, thank you, Dawood. Okay, so now we will talk about two operations where we can apply into on arrays, and we can benefit from the concept of arrays besides storing values and adding and shifting. So the one thing is looping. This is very helpful and popular way of dealing with arrays. So we have here the first example, for loop. Does anyone, I mean, haven't heard of for loops before? Okay, great. So we can use for loops and arrays. This is one example. So instead of, if you remember the languages array, we have here cars array. So imagine you have an array of text. Let me see what I end up doing in this example. It's one. Okay. So let's say you have this array, cars. You have car brands here. And you have a text variable. So you want to bring out all the values of this array and make it one single variable, which is a string variable text. So you can do this using a for loop. So here we are looping based on the car length. Forget about this for now. This structure of for loop with arrays is like you can see it everywhere. This is the basic way of looping through arrays. Yes, we can use while loops, of course. But now we want to use for loop because we want to determine how many times we access each item based on how many items in the array, and we can do that using the length. So I'm starting with based on the length and basically the index. So I'm defining an integer here, or a variable. I'm assigning 0, and I'm telling that the for loop runs from cos length from 0 to col length, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So from 0 to 6. So it's gonna loop 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have 5 here. 5 is smaller than cos length, which is 6. So the for loop would break after that. That way we cover all the items of the array. We do not go to items that is not there. So we would have undefined. And we would start from 0. So that way we could cover everything in the array using this formula. So keep in mind always I0, I less than array's length, I plus plus. And now what we want to do here is, as I told you, we want to extract the values of the array, the strings, and add them up into one variable. So I would have one string that contains all the brands I have here. So I do this operation. There is many arithmetic operation that we can do on variables. This is one of those. So as you know, there is the famous plus, equal, minus. In addition to those, we have plus equal. It basically says, so when you see plus equal means text equals text plus. So this is equal to this, text equal text plus. You can just say text plus equal. Yeah. Text plus equal, text equal, text plus. And then I start with zero here, cos 0. So I would got the BMW, and I'm adding BR tag. BR tag is a HTML tag. So it add a break line to the HTML. So let's say I'm developing a website and I've used text on that website. I have on the HTML, I would have dev. I think we didn't talk about that yet, but you'd see dev like this, and you would have you put text here. This one after you finish the for loop. So in that case, now we have on the console, you would have this output: BMW, BR, Volvo, BR, SAP, BR, etc. If you run this using on the browser and using the compiler of the browser, you would have BMW break line, Volvo break line, and so on. No, you should have HTML files separate and JavaScript files separate. You can write JavaScript on HTML, but you need to put script tag. Yeah, BR is an HTML tag. I think, yes, Christian, it's exactly. It's BR is like /n, basically a new line. BR is basically this, like the enter, BMW, Volvo, and then enter, SAP, enter, Ford. This is the BR in HTML. So we're not talking about HTML now, but if you have the time, you can take a look at it, because JavaScript, HTML, CSS, they are connecting for web development. But JavaScript is used in many places. And again, we are doing this for programmatical concepts. So in that way, I would have, I would print text, and I would have these. Instead, you can remove BR for now. Let's forget about HTML. I want to just focus on the console, and I would have spaces, or I can do /n as Christian said, and in the console, /n is new line. So /n br in HTML equal to /n for the console. I think also it's /n would work in HTML as well, so it's equivalent to br. Yes, Rana, of course. So what I'm doing here is I'm looping through the cause. It's start with I0. I'm gonna do it 5 times. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, from 0 to 5. And then I'm increasing here all the time, I++. And then what I'm doing is text equal text plus cause I plus /n. So I'm adding BMW here for, let's say, the first time. Text equal text. Text is empty at the beginning. So I'm adding empty to BMW, and this is /n. The second time the loop runs, okay, let's comment this for now. I have BMW in text. So here I have BMW, and then I'm adding Volvo here, and then /n. So third loop, text, I'm changing the value of text, which is now BMW and Volvo. So it's here. I'm adding SAP, BMW, Volvo, SAP. Again, the loop continues. BMW, Volvo, SAP, Ford, BMW, Volvo, SAP, Ford, Fiat. Excuse me. The BMW, Volvo, SAP, Ford, Fiat, Audi. So it's we are taking the values from the BMW, assigning it to text through a loop. /t. Yeah, /t is space, is white space, I think. Yeah, it's basically a tab, 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now let's go to the second example. Anyone has a question about this for now? If it's not clear, that's fine. Maybe with time you can it's gonna be clearer, but for now, just remember the structure of this, how we loop to access the array, and how we change the value of a variable, how we accumulate the value of a variable. So we do this by text equal text plus, or text plus equal. So just remember this is equal to this. Text plus equal, and we're doing this n minus 1 times, basically, which is the length of the array minus 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. We're doing this 5 times from 0 to 5. Yes, exactly. Walid. Thank you. Okay, second example is the while loop. Okay. So as I told you, we used for because we are concerned with the number of items in the loop. Now we're using while. Okay, also we're concerned with the number of items, not the number of items. We are concerned with the index more. And we are using the index as a value in this example. So here what we are doing is we're having variable 0 and text empty string. So we are running while from 0 to 9, basically 10 times, and we are text plus equal, which is text equal plus text equal text plus the number is I. So in on action, and then we are adding those all up to text, and we are printing text. And in while you need to increase the value inside the loop. While for you need to do this. Okay. Anyway, you need to do this between the brackets here. So the syntax of while is while I less than 10, and then the increment or the decrement can be here. Okay, so any questions about looping for now? Okay. The third example we have is numbers. So let's say we have array of numbers, and we want to do arithmetic operations on those numbers. So one famous, or let's say, I wouldn't say not famous, one like you would encounter when developing is summation of the values of an array. So let's say you have an array of 2, 2, 4, and you want to do 2 plus 2 plus 4. So you can do this using, okay, I can say sum equal nums 0 plus nums 1 plus nums 2, and then I would have the same result. But imagine you have 1,000 numbers in that array. Let's say you have you are a teaching assistant, for example, and you have 300 students, and you have an Excel sheet of 300 grades, and you want the average. So you want to do the sum at the beginning. So if you go this way, nums 0, nums 1, nums 2, that would mean you have to write this 300 times. So instead, you can use a for loop. So for, we start again from 0 to how many items in the array, and we increase I plus plus, and then we do the summing. So this again, sum equals sum plus nums of I. So we are doing the loop, and we are adding 2 plus 2, 4. Second loop, we will have 4 plus 4, and so on. So let's say we have this. We are adding 2 to 2, then we have 4. Then we add 4 to 4, we would have 8. Then we are adding 8 to 5, we would have 13. 13 to 6, and so on, until we have 34 at the end. Okay, this is the third example we have for loops. If you have any questions, just let us know in the chat. Another operation we have on arrays is merging. So let's say you have these two arrays, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you want to merge the arrays to have them in one array. So let's say you saved two Excel sheets with two numbers or two values, and you want to merge these arrays. So you can use concat, and concat is a method for arrays to just add the first array at to add the second array, which is this, to the first array on the right of the first array. So basically you just concat arrays, as the title says. Another example of doing this is using spread. So let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you want to add these arrays. It do the same functionality, but spread is a way to get rid of brackets. So in advanced programming, sometimes you need to add brackets, like add another dimension. You know, in math, there's 2-dimension arrays like this. And sometimes you need to move these to remove a dimension. So you do spread. So here I'm spreading the first array, 1, 2, 3, spreading the second array, and then I'm adding an array to encompass the values I have. So I spread the first one, 1, 2, 3, spread the second one, 4, 5, 6, and then adding brackets. At the end, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the same functionality as concat, but concat, the only thing to do is concat arrays. Spread, as I told you, in advanced programming, once you see these 3 dots, remember it removes the bracketing from the arrays. Okay, that's it for today's lecture. This is what I've prepared.
I have a question.
Yes,
So when
sure.
it removes the bracket, so it removes the bracket in the in the output when we run the code, the console log?
It removes here. So let's look at it here. So I remove the brackets from 1, 2, 3. I would have 1, 2, 3 as a string. I think there's type of method we can see. Let me check.
Jiba.
Yeah, sorry. Oh. So we can see, does it work like this? Okay, let me check syntax. Okay, this is in HTML. Okay. So yeah, spread, it removes the brackets, and during not during the console log, it it's sequential. You know, JavaScript is sequential. So we start with assigning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you would have we reach the third line here. So we split the first array, split the second array, and then add brackets to have the full array, which is this. And it's an object. We will talk about objects later in the course, I think this week. I'm not sure. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. Is that clear, or
Sorry, my question actually was that when you said you spread the array, so is it in the execution, the output, that it removes the brackets? That was my question.
okay, it removes the bracket. Like if you don't have the output, it also removes the bracket, even if I don't have an output. So it removes the bracket here. Once I type spread and then array, then I would remove brackets, and then I would add brackets to the merged array, then in order to print it here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we still have around 25 minutes to the labs to start. I don't know, Hafsa, do we need to do anything, Hafsa? Or okay, I think in the meantime, maybe you guys, you can, if you want, practice the examples I presented. If you have any questions, I can answer, please let me know. And let's start at 3 for the labs. Thank you all for joining. Yes. So today's lecture is gonna be, you can find it on Canvas. 1, 2, 3. Can you see my screen? Did I share my screen? Oh. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so here the 3 assignments we have today. Favorite songs, sums in 2D arrays, and movie theater. So the first assignment is to use an array to make a list of 5 of your favorite songs, print the entire array and its length. Write a new line of code to not remove code you have already written. Okay. So there's instructions to do this. The idea is when you like write by yourself, you would remember the concept more, and you would also understand the concept more. So again, we are trying to familiarize like ourselves with these concepts. So just apply what is written, and if you need help, just let us know. The second is sums in 2D arrays. So this might be challenging, but again, it's instead of having it's basically bracketing a brackets. So we have 1, 2, 3 array, 4, 5, 6 array, 7, 8, 9 array. We are also adding another dimension. So the dimension of this array would be 1 in rows, 3 in columns, and each of the column is 1 array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so you define this array, or you initiate this array, and then you use a for loop to print the sum of each row on a new line. So add the sum 1, 2, 3, new line, the result new line, 4, 5, 6, new line, 7, 8, 9, new line. Also use a for loop to calculate the sum of the diagonals, as Aleem have like visualize it, 1, 5, 9. So basically you need to sum 1 and 5 and 9. Now do both of the operation in one single for loop. You might find this challenging, but give it a try. If you find it challenging, try doing 2 for loops at the beginning. The last thing is movie theater. You're now going to explore how to present a movie theater as an array of arrays. Okay, make an array representation of a theater with 3 rows and 5 seats per row, and print the representation of your theater. So visualize a movie theater, 3 rows, 5 seats per row. So you would have, yeah, you would have three 5 dimension array, or okay, this is up to you to explore and know how you would do this. So print the representation of your theater, and then you're now accepting ticket purchases, and need to put an X in the seats that are purchased. Seats are booked using the user input for which row and seat number they want. This is an example. Okay. Okay, I think this kind of an issue or a coding problem that needs understanding and absorbing before applying. So once you reach this, try to break it into like smaller assignments and do it sequentially. And if you need help, just let us know. I think now, Hafsa, we can start the labs. You can guys join. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Again, if you need any help, let us know. I think
just a quick thing,
yeah.
you might need to make Aleem a co-host so that he
yes.
can also move between the breakout rooms. Yeah.
Yeah, so if anyone has any questions to ask, feel free to raise your hand